Hello, everyone, and welcome to an afternoon of stamping. My name is Sarah Simon, and I am in a very frigid Appleton, Wisconsin. Um, Debbie said it's a crazy day to be a realtor, but she's warm and cozy for now. Well, that's good. It is so cold out there. The reason I didn't start at 12 and made it 12:30, which seems like a really strange time to start, is that Lila had grooming scheduled for noon. And I originally was like, okay, I'm going to be able to take her and then I'll work from home or I'll go back to work and then pick her up. And as it turned out, I didn't have to go into work today, technically. I have been doing some things from home, but it was a crazy week. Holy cow. So let me start. Like last weekend, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to get all set for my live because I know I'm going to have a busy week. Saturday, we were trying to get, I think we just got our card buffet out. Kathy and I got our card buffet out, which is next weekend. And then I had to do some errands because we were having a fundraiser that night for our kids going on service trips this summer. We had a soup supper. So I had to bring soup over to get plugged in. So it was ready to go for our event at night. And I picked my mom up and we helped with some of that. Then I had to go back there again to help with the event. Then Sunday I had religion. Monday I worked all day. Then I had a meeting from 4:30 till 6:30. Tuesday I had a meeting from 6 until 7. And it was like Wednesday's my marathon day. I went to work at 6:30 in the morning. I left my house at 6:15 so I could go to church because I had a friend who was going into surgery that day and I wanted to go to mass for her. So I got there at 6:30 and I got home that night at about 8:30. So it was like, when am I going to do this? And then when they were saying we might have off on Friday, I'm like, holy cow, if I can get everything done on Thursday, then I won't have to go in on Friday. So I had all these little kits that I had to put together for a children's liturgy. We needed 100 kits, and I had a volunteer who got 50 of them done the other day. So I needed to make another 50. So they needed 15 beads, half of a pipe cleaner, and a piece of cord for a string. They're making little fish necklaces and children's liturgy. So I got all those made. But then by the time that got done, I was like, I don't have time to make a second card. So thank you guys so much for understanding. And what else do you have to do on a cold day like today? And it looks like most of the country is kind of cold or they are snowed and iced out. So I figured somebody might want to watch. So, and I know sometimes I put things on in the background as I'm working as well. So maybe some of you are working, Kathy Miller. She said she was going to watch while she was working. All right. We have a couple of things that we need to talk about. Bonus days are still going on until February 2nd. So you have another week and a couple of days for that. And that is where if you spend $50, you get a $5 coupon. Make sure you save all of the codes that they email you. Usually within like a minute of your order, you will get an email that says you've earned a reward. And in there are your coupon codes. You will need those to get that $5 back starting on February 3rd and continuing till February 28th. So that's going on right now. We also have our product of the month. We're actually going to use this stamp set today. And the card that I had done, I made one Wednesday night when I got home. I just didn't have the energy to stay up longer to make a second card. And the one that I made today was much better. But we have Fabulous Sayings, which is a cool stamp set with a lot of really neat sayings in it. And then also, Stampin' Up! Announced this week that starting on February 3rd, if you join my team, you will get this free stamping positioner. So we used to have a Stamparatus, which was very similar to the Misty, and they discontinued it. And I had heard some little like rumblings that it had to do with some copyright possibilities, like because it was so close, I think, to the Misty or whatever. But now this is completely different. It's designed completely different. It is going to be, if you join my team, you will be able to get this for free along with your $149 worth of product for $99 and free shipping. And so that will start on February 3rd and run through the month of February. If you are a demonstrator, you can get your hands on this now for $49 plus your discount. You do have to order it before February 2nd. Beginning February 3rd and beyond, as a demonstrator, you will not be able to order this. My understanding is that it will be available, whether it's in the next catalog or sometime with online exclusives. So if it's something you're like, oh, I really want that, but I really don't want to be a demonstrator, know that it's going to at some time be available again. This is kind of an exclusive. You can get it earlier and you can get it for free type offer if you join my team. They always have a join special of some sort. They used to during Celebration. So we figured something was coming. They went with the stamp of the month, and I really like the bonus days better than Celebration, because with Celebration, I was limited to what I could pick once I got to that certain threshold of dollars spent. And now with every $50 ordering, getting a $5 bonus, I can go back and pick what I want with that. And I can get what I want with those $5 rather than being limited to what was in their little coupon book. So, or their Celebration booklet. So those are the deals that are going on and that are coming up, just so that you are aware of them. Last week we played with our tulips. That was kind of fun. And we also worked with this stamp around, and we made this diamond column card. And a reminder that there's 1 week left for my creative challenge of the month. So it's this joy fold that is a vertical joy fold. And we're going to do something similar to this today with our fun fold. It's just a little bit different, but it's very similar to this. And it's just kind of a different spin on it, I guess, that you could take. Hello, Amanda. Yes, I hope everyone is staying warm. Oh, thanks, Mary. Yeah, I'm a doodle mom. So I figured I was taking Lila in to get groomed today, and I was just going to be kind of lazy. I was in my pajamas, to be honest with you, until it was about 10:30. I hopped in the shower and put some other clothes on. So it was nice to just kind of lounge and be able to do my work and not have to be all dressed up and stuff. So hello. I think is Smiley J. I think is it Joan? I can't remember. Smiley J. I think it's cold in Minnesota too. Yes. I was in my car going to the groomers, and the temperature without the wind chill kept saying going between -15 and -16. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cold. I thought it was cold yesterday. It's even worse today. So, and it's supposed to be just as bad tomorrow. So I think I'm going to be stamping the whole weekend. My mom just asked me, I'd called her on my way home from the groomers, and just to make sure that they were staying in, because I always have to check on them, because they used to check on us when we were younger. Now we check on them when they're older, right? But I wanted to make sure that they were staying in and not going anywhere. And why was I saying that? I don't know why I was telling you about my mom, but I don't know why I said why I was going there. But anyway, I called her to check to make sure that she was in, and she was. And I just said, it's really, really cold out. But Lila normally doesn't like to go out in the snow or when it's super cold, and she went out this morning. So that was a good thing. But I'm going to quickly run to pick her up when she's done, and then I am going to be in. Oh, I know. I was saying to my mom, she asked me if I had anything going on this weekend, and I said nothing. I have nothing for work that I have to be at. I have absolutely nothing that I have to be at. So I am hopefully going to get a lot done this weekend. That is the goal. So let's cross our fingers. All right. Are you ready to get stamping? I think I've talked enough and given people enough time to jump on. Yes, 9 minutes is more than enough of me talking. So let me go ahead and flip my camera. And like I said, we are going to be using Fabulous Sayings, which is our online exclusive. There's happy birthday. You're on my mind. Thank you. Sending love. Hello. You can do anything, and then some stuff for the inside if you want it. So that's the stamp set we're going to be using. I am going to be using the exact same DSP that I've used for a while. I have found that I love this DSP, and it's so flexible. You could use it with so many different things. So this is the mixed up patterns. There's some florals, there's some rickrack, there's some scalloped lines, and some little swirly things, and all kinds of stuff that you can use. And I keep pulling this out to use. Joan, thank you. I could not remember, Joan. I'm so sorry. So this is the DSP that we're going to be using. I was going to use this embossing folder that's over here, the all in a row one, but I ended up using, I keep going back to, gosh, what's it called? I should know. Is it a beautiful pattern? Let me see if I can find it in here. I think this is an online exclusive one. Let me see. It's right here. Beautiful pattern. This is the embossing folder that, and I also right now am like, I have a disaster. The next thing I'm going to do is clean my stamp room so that I can get around. But can you see that, the design? It's so pretty. And it kind of worked with the paper that I was using. So I ended up using this beautiful pattern. So where did I get this layout? I got this layout from a swap. And yes, my swaps came finally on Tuesday. My swaps arrived. I have no idea how many different states they've been in, but they were in one condition. And so the fun fold that we're using is from the swaps. This is from a different set of swaps that I had gotten a while back. And Kathy and I were using this one in our card buffet, and I'm like, I really like that layout. Let's see what we can do with it. So I'll show you the swap card that I got. Now, the swap card that I got wasn't exactly like this. Those of you that signed up for my card buffet, you know that this was one of the options in our card buffet. This said, hello, friends, when we got it. Amy Wilcox is the person who sent this to us in the swap that we were in. And Kathy and I decided hello, friends wasn't going to be something that a lot of the ladies that come to our card buffets would want. They want sympathy, thinking of you, get well, birthdays. So I thought Kathy remade the card, and she goes, I just tore off the label and I replaced it with a different one. So sorry for your loss is what we changed this one, or Kathy changed it to. I thought it was a really good choice on her part. This is the layout that we're going to be using. So if you can see, there's a little bit of a textured background that uses the all in a row embossing folder. There's a little bit of DSP here. There's a focal image in the center, and then our greeting is on a circle. I'm going to do something very similar to this for the card I'm doing, but then I'm going to show you some other alterations that you can make with this exact same layout. All right, so the dimensions for this, get that out of here, are right here. And we have a card base, and I'm using Balmy Blue for mine. My card base is 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4 to get me my card base. I have the front and the inside are 4 by 5 1/4. So I've got an inside one that's 4 by 5 1/4, and my outside one, which I already embossed with that embossing folder. You can kind of see that a little bit. And then I have the largest mat. So if you notice, there's a largest mat, a middle one, and then there was some DSP. So the largest mat is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. The medium size one is 3 by 3. And then the DSP, I have 5 1/4 by 1 1/2 for that piece that goes across the middle. I have a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 that goes in there. And then I cut a 1/2 inch by 5 1/4 to decorate my inside a little bit as well. So this again is from the all patterned paper that I'm just absolutely loving. All right, I have a 1 7/8 inch diameter punch. Okay, I also have a 2-inch because that's what she used. But when I was doing some die cutting, I noticed that I had a stack of these sitting in a bin for something that I cut at one point and I didn't need them all. And I'm like, I could even do that. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. We'll see. This one just has a little bit of stitching. I don't even know if you can see that on with the lighting. And then it shows a little bit more white. And this one, there's just a very little bit of white showing through. And then we've got our blue. All right, so we have very little stamping that we have to do for this one. I'll bring this back once I have the card finished so that you see it. We are going to use the thank you from that Fabulous Sayings. I love the thank you. If any of you watched Kelly, it was so funny. She was devastated because she lost the thank you. She could not find it anywhere. She said, I searched over everything. I opened everything up. I was looking underneath things. People were giving her some suggestions. You know, I said to her, look at the bottom of your ink pads because that's where I always have these stick to sometimes if they're not on a block and they're just sitting around. They can get caught on just about anything. And then she goes to make a card, and here it was in a bucket of stamps. And she had spent so much time. Right now, that's how I know I have to clean my office. When it takes me forever to try to find something, I was going to do a little 3D item for you, a Valentine's item, but I could not find the die that I needed in order to do it. And I'm like, I've got to clean this room. So I started to clean it up. And about 15 minutes before I went live, I found the die. It was stuck in with a whole bunch of paper. And I'm like, oh, Sarah. So I made the thing and I will probably make it next week for you. So this is our Versamark. And I'm going to take, I don't know where my Stampin' Up! Tweezers is. I get these from Amazon because I like to have them in my little toolbox when I have different events. But the nice thing about the Stampin' Up! One is this one is metal and it gets super, super hot. The Stampin' Up! One is protected. It has like a heat protectant, kind of like our, what do you call this? What do I call this? Silicone mat. It's kind of like our silicone mat. But I'm just going to put some white embossing powder on here and knock that off. And then heat set that. And through the magic of TV, we have that done already. I'm going to set this over here so that I can do that later, heat set it later and use it again because I do need a bunch of thank you notes. And this layout is so quick and easy that I'm going to make a whole bunch of the thank you notes that I need with this design. And I can even use some different patterns of paper. I don't have to make them all blue. There's some yellow paper in there. There's a bunch of different colors. So, all right, that is all we have to do that. Now, if you wanted to, you could do the so much. Thank you. And there's like a so much that you could put on the inside if you want to. I didn't do that right now because I thought once I go to use it, I'll see what I'm using it for and make a decision at that point, whether I want the so much or if I want to put a different greeting that has to do with thank you on it. So I'm going to go ahead, see, look at the yellow pattern. You could use this for that right there. And then I think on the back of that one, oops, let me get this straight here. Come on. I think on the back of that one is like a florally yellow. So you could make this in yellow, Daffodil Delight, instead of, yep, see, it's got a little flowery pattern. You could just do this and put that one in the center and do the striped one over here, and you would have another color. You could make like a whole gift pack of them if you wanted to in different colors. All right, this I'm going to use actually some liquid glue because it's going to go on the raised image there. It's embossed. Whenever anything's embossed, I like to use liquid glue so it gets between all the little raised and lowered parts, cracks and crevices. And I'm going to try to get this in the middle. If it's not smack dab in the middle, it's okay. It's homemade. I don't feel like I have to measure it or anything. It's good. All right, and then this is going to go on the front. Such an easy layout. Especially when you want to make a whole bunch of a card, you know, like if you've got a bunch of thank yous that you have to make, or you've got a bunch of birthdays coming up and you want to use it for birthdays, or you're like, gosh, I really want to get a whole bunch of sympathies cards or get well cards so that I have them on hand when somebody, you know, dies or they're sick or something, then you have them handy. I don't know why this is going in and out. I think it has to do probably with my lighting. I'm not used to having so much natural lighting coming out. As cold as it is, it's really, really sunny out. It's kind of deceiving. But I think that's what they say. Like if we had more cloud cover, it probably wouldn't be as cold. But because there is no cloud cover and it's super sunny, it's very cold. Oh, and the wind chill is so, like you walk out and it's like, whew, it kind of just hits you like, oh, there it is. All right, I'm just putting a whole bunch of dimensionals on here. I like to put them in the middle so that it doesn't get crushed when they goes through the post office. I'm better friends with the United States Postal Service right now that I got my swaps back. Like, okay, I like you a little bit better. All right, that's on there. It doesn't look like it's straight, but I think it is. It looks straight. Okay. Then I'm going to just put this little strip along the bottom of this white right here for my inside. Like I said, you can add a greeting afterwards. You don't have to write a greeting if what you have to write. I have a couple of people who were speakers at different events, and we have an event next Wednesday where we have somebody who's doing music for us, and we have some priests that are coming to hear confessions and all that kind of stuff. So I know I'm going to need a whole bunch of thank you notes. So that's why I'm doing that. Oh, Northwest Ohio is at 9 degrees. We got you beat, Sue. It's negative 15 here. That's without the wind chill. It's like negative 30 with the wind chill. So yeah, it's really nasty everywhere. But I think Ohio, you guys are supposed to be getting snow with yours, aren't you? We aren't supposed to get any precipitation that I've heard. Okay, now I have to decide. Do I want just a little bit of white? Can you see that? Do we want just a little bit of white showing, or do we want more of the white showing? So little or lot? Little or more, I guess. I don't know how you want to do it. Vote. Do you like just the little bit of white showing through there? So there's just like an 1/8 of an inch difference? Or do you like the little stitched edge and a little bit more white showing through? And it looks like that when it's on there. More, 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 more. Everyone's saying more. Okay, we'll do the more. That was easy. Okay, we're going to show more of the white, and then I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals as well. Most of these cards that I'm going to be using are going to be hand delivered to the people when I'm there. They're at my different events. A cousin in West Virginia, 3 inches of snow. Oh, I know. And they were showing like in Dallas, they were treating the roads because they were expecting freezing rain. So it's supposed to get really cold and then it's supposed to rain. And they were saying that the power might be out for a couple of days because of Sue's saying lots of snow starting tomorrow through Sunday. Yeah, I know they said lots of flights are canceled. And this is our Balmy Blue. It's a gingham ribbon that goes with our Easter suite of products. And it's a super thin ribbon. not very wide, I should say. But it's just like a nasty weekend all around. It looks like across the United States in a lot of different states. All right, so this I'm just going to put kind of in the corner right there. I thought about running it here. It was just too much with this little pattern in here and then the gingham. So I thought it looked better just adding it to the corner of my circle. So we'll get a glue dot to add that. And then, whoops, I put that on the wrong way. Didn't I? Yeah. There we go. Upside down. 31. What's 31, Mary? Oh, 31 inches of snow. Oh my goodness. That is a lot of snow. That is a lot of snow. That's why you're saying 31. I'm like, why is she saying 31? But then I had to go back to the other comments. All right, so that's that. And then there's like this little area up here that was kind of open in the circle after I put that ribbon there. So I picked out our antique pearls. Sometimes I forget about different gems that we have. And these antique pearls are so pretty. You could just use regular pearls if you wanted to, but I really liked the antiquing look of this. So I'm just going to take one of the smallest ones. Pop that up there. And then I'm going to take one of the medium-sized ones and pop that up there. And there is our finished card. Super easy, like goes together really quick. Other than, I mean, you could just cut all the paper and just make an assembly line, emboss all your back, the backings, the 4 by 5 1/4. Thanks, Sue. It's just, this was just so easy. And like I said, I needed a lot of them. So this was the card that I got in the swap. That was the, my inspiration for this. And then I did put together a couple of other cards to show you some different things that you could do. So this one uses the 3 layers, but instead of doing 1/4 of an inch, I did an 1/8 of an inch because this is from some of our designer series paper. The designer series paper is called Love Notes. Let me see if I have some here. I do. I have a pack here. So I don't know if you saw this paper. It's in the beginning of the catalog, this where we have like where they talk about the kits, and they have a lot of the for the more beginner stamper. Let's see if I can find it now. It's right here. It's called Love Notes. It's 6 by 6. And there's 3 sheets that are, no, 6 sheets that are 2-sided. So you end up getting 8 of each one. And I can tell you that I bought a whole bunch of this. So I'm on a committee for a women's retreat that's coming up in February. And we were kind of talking the theme of the retreat. We've never done a theme. They've been doing these retreats for like 30 years. We've never done anything on friendship. And so we decided to do it on friendship. And one of the girls said, oh, I wonder if we have like a little, it's called the hearth room, where we have like nail polish and jewelry cleaner, and we had coloring and things like that to do in the past. And I'm like, hey, we've got this one stamp set or this one paper that's really easy for me to cut it into different strips. And I could make like about 8 different cards. And I'm just going to use our note cards with our envelopes. And if people are there and they want to put together a little note to send to someone, you're amazing. Doesn't have to be Valentine's Day. Some of these, like for most of these papers, let me show you. Where did I put them? Right underneath me. So on this side, it says Happy Valentine's Day. It says love, and there's this. And then on the back side, and if you didn't like that, you could use this for a different pattern paper. Okay, for this one, You've got one pattern on one side and one pattern on the other side. Here we've got, again, a pattern and a pattern, but then we have these little love note things. We just click. So you could do that, or you could do just the camera and you could put whatever saying you want. Your extra special to and from, or you could just have the little purple drink thing there. So these are all like without sayings, and you could stamp on them and make sayings. And then this one is different. Seriously, Sarah. I know, Becky. There going to be like 600 people there, and I'm not going to have enough for everybody to make some. It's just going to be in the hearth room, and as long as we have them, they're there. And when we run out, we run out. I think I ordered enough for. Did I order enough for like 200 and some cards? And all I'm going to do is cut these apart. And then I'm just going to have some samples of things that they might be able to do with them. So it should be pretty easy, just because this paper it lends itself to being something that's super easy. So this one's sending hugs. I have that one with a little thing. It's just got a little bit of designer paper behind it. And then there's this. There's not a lot that people have to do to put those together. But that's where I got this Love You More and where I got this paper. So I didn't have to do any stamping on here at all. It was just embossing. I didn't do anything on the inside. And then I made this Valentine one. And for this one, I used designer paper on the background and that little strip. And then in the center, I ended up doing the embossing there. And I used our embossing folder there. And so this has like the little heart with the tag. It's got some dimensional. So it's just, I didn't get the inside done because I just wanted to get some different ideas for you to how you could use the same layout in a variety of different ways. So that is our first card. Let me put our love notes away. But see how these are just cut apart. So what I can do is I can probably take 6 sheets of paper and I can just cut these. You're amazing. You know, it'll be easy. This little balloon I have one for. So it'll be fun. But it is kind of, I thought it was a cool, Christy Kendall and I came up with the idea. And we're also doing, have you ever seen those? They're the new Polaroid cameras. They're instant cameras. I think is it Fuji? I can't remember what does it, but I ended up getting some for at work because we used them for a retreat that we did. And at the bottom, it's kind of like the old Polaroid where it has a thing on the bottom. And we're going to have different markers that they can write things around the outside of it. And then we're going to have like little clothespins that they can hang the pictures of themselves up with their friends throughout the weekend. So it should be kind of fun. Oh, thanks, Becky. All right. Number 2. Let's see here. Where do I want to start? How about if I show you my inspiration? Now, this one I only got one done because when I was struggling, I'm like, okay, I've got to do something. So I was in one of the swaps that I was in was Fun Folds. And I think some people backed out because I ended up getting some of my own back. So I really didn't get that many different Fun Folds because there weren't that many people that signed up for it. And then some people must have backed out. But this one was from Sandy Carlson. And it's similar to, so this is the one that we're doing right now for our creative challenge where it opens like this and then that opens up. Okay. This one's like that and it opens like this, but instead this pulls out. Okay. So instead of just flipping over, it actually pulls out. And so when I saw this, I was like, I really, really like this. Hi, Kathy. You must be busy. I have to go up, Kathy, to pick up Lila from her grooming. And so I was thinking I could drop your paper off at work for you if you want while I'm out anyway to save you a trip over here. But I'll talk to you. I'll send you a text. So anyway, this is going to be our fun fold. And again, this is Sandy Carlson. And thank goodness I got my swaps this week so that I could go ahead and use one of those folds. So I wanted to use, this is in our, currently in our online exclusives right here. It's called Fragrant. layers. Whoops, not that. This and this. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is Fragrant Layers. And I've been seeing some things that I thought were really, really cute online, and I really wanted to play with this bundle. So I decided this was the bundle I was going to use for my second card. And when I saw this layout, I'm like, I think that this little piece right here could fit right on top of there. And it was perfect for that. And so I ended up doing that. And then for the inside, I was looking for a greeting, and I love this reason to celebrate because there's so many different things in here. There's a happy, which you could use happy anniversary, on your graduation, happy new year, um, you know, happy birthday is what I'm going to be using this one for. Happy Valentine's Day, happy Easter, lucky St. Patrick's Day, on your special day. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use this. I used it in my card buffet using Better Together and then Happy Anniversary because I think that's a perfect greeting to have for a happy anniversary card. I was stuck with what colors I wanted to use for this, and I really wanted to use the dies on this. So look at these dies. So this makes like a frame. Whoops, you can kind of see some of the colors I picked because they're still in there. This makes a frame. I still got some in here. All right. And then this kind of makes the outline of the flowers, and they fit. Whoops, let's get them the right way. It fits right inside of there. And then this gives you some texture to your flowers, and that fits right inside of there as well. I think I had it go this way instead. That's why I'm getting so confused. And then I have the bunch of 3 leaves that go right there. So you can fill it in with all these different colors and textures. It was so fun to finally get a chance to play with this a little bit. And you don't have to use this frame. You could just use these together. You don't even have to get the dies. You could stamp right here and then stamp it in one color, fill it in another, and then you've got your leaves that you can fill in with ink as well. So a very versatile stamp set, and I should say bundle. All right. So I was like, what colors am I going to use? So of course I go to my color coach, and this is actually not this year's, this is last year's. And when I was going through them, I was looking at the greens, I was kind of looking at the pinks. At first I thought I was going to do something with a pink and navy because I love pink, navy, and white together. And I was kind of had that color combination in my head. But then I saw this, and I saw the Petunia Pop, the Blackberry Bliss, and the Lemon Lime Twist. And I'm like, I like that combination together. So here was the card that I was looking at. I knew I didn't need DSP for this because that was going to be this frame. Look at how perfectly that fits in there. It was like it was meant to be on that card, right? Okay, so let's take a look at what we have for dimensions and what I chose for colors. Again, Fragrant Layers is the name of the bundle. Okay, so our card base is 5.5, and this is Petunia Pop. So it's 5.5 by 8.5, and I scored it at 2 1/8 and at the 4 1/4. So you fold it in half, and then we're going to fold that back. So that's where it's a little bit different. Our one for the Creative Challenge was just a regular flap that we went over, and we made it a little bit bigger than that 2 1/8, and we cut just a little bit. I think we cut like 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches off of there. Okay, so that's going to be our card base, and that's in Petunia Pop. Our opening cardstock, so the part for this opening piece is 6.5 by 4.5. I'm sorry, by 4 1/4, and I scored it at 3 1/4. So it ends up being 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 once it's folded. All right, so that's that. and then our mat for our DSP. So I decided instead of putting my DSP right on here, I wanted to mat that on a piece of paper first. So I used white for my mat, and this is 3 1/8 by 5 1/4. So that's what's going to go on here. And I used for my DSP, I used just the color families. So this is the In Colors color family. And I was going to use this, but it was just too florally. So I ended up using this one that looks like just a bunch of paint splatters, kind of. I used this, and that is, did I not put that on here? Oh, I didn't put my DSP on here. Sorry, let me write it on. Oh, and I forgot to give you my card with the dimensions of the last one. I'll do that at the end, I promise. Oh, no, right here. Mat. No, that's the mat for the DSP. The DSP itself, that pen doesn't work. The DSP is 3 by 5 1/8. Okay, so this is going to go on there, and then that's going to be attached to that. Whoops. Okay. And then my inside panel over on this piece, so on here that's crumb cake. That is 4 by 5 1/4. And I use that exact same embossing folder. Can I say that I'm just obsessed with this embossing folder? I was going to use this striped one, but like other things in my stamp room right now, I couldn't find it. It's buried under something. And that's so embarrassing to say, but it's so true right now. And that's why I have to clean. So that's going to be my piece over here. And then this piece right here of the Blackberry Bliss was actually 3 by 4. And I cut that, put the frame on it to cut that outside in. I have a piece of vellum, and I forgot to put the vellum on here, but that's also 3 by 4. I just wanted to mute the background a little bit. And then this inside, for inside of here is 3 by 4. So there's 3 things here that are 3 by 4. Okay. I also have a strip. This is 5/8 of an inch wide. This is going to be for our greeting. And I did die cut that outline and then the filler. So this is Petunia Pop with some white. And then notice how this goes right in here like that. Isn't that cool? Oh, pretty, pretty, pretty. And then I also did cut out some of these white little flowers. I couldn't decide if I wanted them in white or the Petunia Pop, but I decided on white. And we're going to use some Petunia Pop gems. So I've got 3 of those. And then where my lemon lime twist comes in is I cut these petals out of lemon lime twist. And there are 3 different dies for that. These 2 look like they're the same, but they're not. This one has a little bit smaller leaf on the right than these 2 kind of look the same, but that's a little different. All right. And I do have a couple more flowers in here because they cut like about 5 or 6 of them out. So here they were in the Moody Mauve. And I'm like, which one do I want to use? Or not Moody Mauve, Petunia Pop. Moody Mauve, that's a long time ago. All right, let's do our stamping. Yes, let's do our stamping first. And then we'll put everything together. Okay, so this is our inside layer, this is our outside layer, and those are the 2 things that we have to stamp. So with our Blackberry Bliss ink, for our greeting, I'm going to stamp It's Your Day, which comes right from that stamp set. Pretty good. All right, and then I'm going to do the outline of the flower stamp on the inside. And I'm also going to do, I have that happy and that birthday, and I layered them on top of each other. And I'm just going to put it as something a little bit different. Oh, let's do that over. I'm going to put it in the lower left corner rather than in the center. I should have my little mat for stamping here, but I don't. I don't even know where it went. Usually I have one sitting right here, and it's not here right now. So I must have moved it to stamp somewhere else and didn't bring it back. That's my problem. I don't put things away. Okay, and then let's close up our Blackberry Bliss. And we'll take out our Petunia Pop. And this is our inside. Now, lining this up, there's this one petal. Let's see here. This one petal right here that kind of looks like it's heart-shaped. And so what I want to do is I want to look for the one that's heart-shaped, and that's the one right there. So I'm going to line those up, and then the rest of it should line up. So here's my heart-shaped. There's my heart shape. And just like that, we've got our little flower. Okay. Then let's put a little bit of greenery in here. So let's take our lemon lime twist. Here we go. And, oh, I didn't put anything on the last envelope. Let's just get this here and we'll okay, so I just put a couple of greens on there. And then we've got to fill in for that as well. And I'm just going to stamp off once. And then stamp in there. Stamp off once. And stamp inside there. So there is our inside of our card. And we should be ready to go. All right, let's put this together. My thank yous here yet? Oh my goodness, got a mess. All right, let's put this together. And I'm going to use my silicone mat. I live right by a police station and fire station. So if you heard that, I hear that all the time and I don't think anything of it, but it's very close. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the white to the Petunia Pop. So that's going to go on like that. So I'm going to go ahead and use some liquid glue. And I'm putting it on my silicone mat just because it's easy to pick. If the glue gets on the silicone mat, I can easily remove it. And I don't have a super sticky surface over everything else. I'm not like putting things into something that's sticky all the time. If I get some glue on here, it easily lifts off. Now you could also use like a sponge of some sort and you could sponge your glue onto your silicone mat. I ended up just using regular glue on this one. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so I'm just lining that up. And I use liquid glue because it is very forgiving and it's wiggleable. You can kind of wiggle it into the place that it needs to go into. Okay, so there is that. And then this is going to go onto here. Now for this one, you want to put your glue on your frame. Now this is where probably having a sponge, which I don't think I have a sponge dauber sitting here. But I'm going to just go ahead and lightly put some of this glue on here. And once I get a little bit out, I stop squeezing and then I just spread the stuff that's there just to make sure that I don't get too much glue. But if you do it on this silicone mat, it's perfect because I can just lift all of that up afterwards. This is not probably a card that I would make a whole bunch of, to be honest. Like the last one, I could see making like 50 of those cards and they would be done in no time. This one would take a little bit more work. Okay, once I have that glue on there, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to line these up. Okay, doesn't that look pretty? Hi, Audrina. And then our 3 petals goes right up here. So I'm going to line that up. And again, with the liquid glue, it's a little bit forgiving. You can kind of just keep wiggling it until you get it into the right place to fill that little spot to give it some dimension. And then we have this one right here that has the littler leaf. And then we have our one down at the bottom. Isn't that pretty? I just loved, I mean, the color combination from the color coach was helped me a lot so that I knew what to put together. My first thought was I was going to do navy and pink and white and like a granny apple green. And then when I saw that color combination, I'm like, well, let's try that. Now, this is going to go on here, and I thought that was just a little bit dark. So I decided to put a little vellum on it to make that pink that's behind it a little more muted rather than being so dark. So all I'm going to do is throw some glue along the edges here. And we can put some glue on even the center part here because it's not going to be, you're not going to be able to see that through the vellum. It's going to cover up the vellum there. And we'll put this down. Just like that. I have to be careful because it is still sticky because I didn't pick up that other glue that was on there. I'm going to flip this over, press this down. Just like that. Isn't that pretty? I just loved this die. It's so cool. Thanks, Sandy. Yeah, I saw this bundle and I was not sure at first because I'm always like, do I need another flower? But I loved how you could like do all of the die cuts with it and make such different looking flowers. Okay, let's put this card together. So I'm going to grab my bone folder and make sure that I give this a good burnish. I'm going to give this a good burnish. And we've got this piece. All right, I'm going to layer this onto here. And I just felt like this needed that little bit of white. Hers did not have like anything behind there, but I just felt for this one with this designer paper on here, it just needed that little bit of white to make it pop a little bit. All right, here is our embossed piece. that in there. And then this is going to go, it just has to be on here. So what I did when I did mine was I put a piece of adhesive on that side, and then I came on here and I put some extra adhesive so I knew how far I could go. And I wanted the top and the bottom for those whites to kind of line up. So I lined that up, top and bottom. And this is going to go on the inside. Again, this opens with on the right hand side is your crease. And I'm going to use liquid glue because of the embossed layer there. I'm constantly picking different glues to use depending on what I'm doing at the time. Okay, and I'm going to just kind of center that. All right, and then I want to go ahead and add adhesive to this. And again, I want to stay where I have things like the flowers so that you can't see my glue through the vellum. So I'm only putting glue where that flower image is. Just love this bundle. Hi, Marva. Thanks for joining us. Okay, and then this will pop in here like that. Oh, we're getting there. Here's our greeting. I'm going to take a scissors and I'm just going to make this into a banner on this end. Just a real tiny little banner. And then this I'm just going to cut off straight. And this is just going to go right across here, like about there. I'm going to put that on some dimensionals. So it's your day and happy birthday. We have these little white flowers that I wanted to add to the center of each of these flowers. So I'm going to put a little Stampin' Dimensional in there. In the center of each of those. And I'm going to take my fingers and just kind of give that a little bit of dimension and then pop that right in the center like that. First, when I did this, I was like, ooh, I don't like that, but just wait, I'm going to add a gem there. So if you're looking at that saying, oh, I wouldn't have done that, she just ruined the card, just wait, you're going to see. I'm going to add something on top of it. And then we'll pull this one off. Now this does cut, I think it's like 6 or 7 little flowers. So you get a lot of them with one pass through your machine. It's not like each one of these is its own. All right, then we have these Sparkling Dots Essentials. And there's like a bubble bath. And this looks like it could pass for Petunia Pop. So we've got like a bubble bath or maybe a Pretty in Pink. There's a green and there's like this almost looks like Pretty Peacock or Misty Moonlight. I don't even know which colors they are. I would have to look it up. Where's my take your pick tool? Oh, where did I put it? Well, I don't see it here. We'll just use our scissors and try to get underneath there. Or maybe I'll just use my fingers. Put these sparkly, sparkly dots to bring that pink color into the center of each of those flowers, just to give it a little bit of dimension and a little bit of sparkle. So this now opens this way. It's your day. Happy birthday. Isn't that fun? I just loved playing with this bundle. You know how like when you get a bundle or you get something new and it's like, okay, sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, like, oh, I don't know really where to start with it. But once I started playing and cutting things out and seeing how they lined up, it was really fun. Now, you don't have to use this frame. So if you don't want to have to line all of that stuff up, you don't have to. You could use just that outline piece with the inside. You don't even have to put that white layer. Like I put that white layer in there because I thought it just helped it to pop. You could put just that petunia pop. That would just go ahead and fit in there by itself. You don't have to have the white on top of it. But I liked how, since I had white here, I liked including the white into the flower as well. I was just going to put the center as white and leave all of that pink and not have the other white. But then I cut the white and I liked how it looked with it. So I ended up keeping it in there. But you don't, like I said, you don't have to do this frame piece. You can make the frame so it's not as thick. I cut mine 3x4. If you cut yours a different dimension, it would make it either, like if you did it, let's say, I don't know, 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, it would just make this little frame part here thinner rather than as thick as it is. So, woohoo, that is a fun little fold that worked really nicely with the Fragrant Layers. It's called Fragrant Layers. And I'll bring it in here again. There's the dimensions so that you can get those if you want them. And again, this is an online exclusive. So we've got the Fragrant Layers dies and the Fragrant Layers stamp set. So you can see you could stamp that and not have to cut it out at all. You could just stamp it on a card and there's your inside, just like we did with this flower. Here's something that you could put on the inside. I just kept the inside of mine white because it was white on the outside. So I didn't put a color, but you could do a color on the inside as well. All right, so Fragrant Layers, that one's called. So fun. And again, Sandy Carlson had the card that was my inspiration for this one. And it's very similar. This you would just have to keep the paper and score the paper there and put your, cut this a little bit different. But anyhow, there is our second card and our first card. Let me put it out here with the dimensions again. Where did I put those? Right here. Let's get these out of here. We'll go like this, and there's our card number 2. Here's our card number 1 with the dimensions again, in case you needed them. They're all on there. Oh, yeah. I'll slide this down a little bit. There we go. Now you have the dimensions and you have the oh, Lila's going to be done in 25 minutes. Oh, no, sorry. She's going to be done in 25 minutes. That's what it says. Takes me about 15 minutes to get there. Oh my goodness, I got to get going. She did that really fast. Usually it takes her 2 hours to groom her. And she was really, really long. So I got to go get my baby picked up. So anyhow, let me come back to you. I don't want to cut you short. So those are 2 projects for today. I did do, like I said, so I made this little cute Valentine's treat box with the jar. Kathy made these at Christmas time. I couldn't find this die that I needed to cut it out. I found it about 15 minutes before I went live. So I did get one made, put together. So I think next week I will show you how to make these so that if you have this little jar and you have some of the Valentine paper or just any kind of fun paper, you could make it St. Patrick's Day as well, because there's a little clover that you could put in there as well. So just wanted to show you, I did find this, and I'll show you how to make these next week. We also will pick our winner for our monthly January Creative Challenge. I'll give you the new challenge for February. So you have that. Oh, thanks, Debbie. This Fragrant Layers is out of stock right now, and it's expected back on February 2nd, she said. Sometimes they come back quicker. I probably should have looked at that before I ended up picking something, but I've been wanting to use that I just went ahead and used it. So thank you guys so much for watching me on this cold afternoon. I hope that you stay warm, and I will see you. I'm planning to go live next week, Thursday, where I'll pick the winner of our creative challenge and also share with you what our new challenge is. Do you have the special Christmas card back from your office or church? I'm curious to see. Oh, I can show you it, Debbie. I can definitely show you that. I do have it. So I don't have it right here in my stamp room, but I do have it. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.